Hello guys, so welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at the sample app that we have here today, and our primary focus is going to be on how to implement application control and URL filtering on the checkpoint firewall, right? And also we're going to be seeing how to manage policies within that particular firewall as in an enterprise environment. So looking at the lab that we have here today we currently have this setup where we have our router is going to help us to get internet access into the lab, and we have two firewalls here, that's security gateway 1 and security gateway 2. They're going to be acting as one in the cluster state, in the high availability active standby status. And then later on, we usually have an internal firewall here, which is just going to be simulating an environment that we have to see how we can have different policy packages, how different roles are being controlled from the security management server. They are created here and then pushed to different security gateways. So we'll see how to make all of that happen. And also, with that being said, our router is already set for internet access. And in our subsequent videos, I'm going to show us how we can be able to set up our router for internet access. Maybe to make it clear, I'll just wipe it off and show us how to do it again. I'll clear all the labels here, and then we are going to go straight right into it to try to see how to make that happen. So following the environment that we have, I'm just going to wipe this particular router. I'll stop everything, or rather we'll just leave it the way it is, and I can show us the configurations as to how it's being done. One of the key things to note on the other part is the routing. If you want to make this particular lab setup possible for you, here all these devices here, their gateway is going to point to the VIP. And once we are here on the cluster, this firewall here and this security gateway here, all of them, their default gateway is going to point to this interface of this router. And from here, the default gateway is going to point to the IP address, to the gateway given by DHCP on this interface here. Now, for return traffic, we need to understand that once the response comes in, ISP is always going to respond to our edge router. Our edge router is directly connected to the 172.166.1.0 network, but it's not connected to the 10.10.1.1.0 network and also this network behind here. So for that to happen, we need to tell this router that, okay, if you receive packets destined for these networks behind here, you should forward it to this VIP IP. Since this VIP IP is a floating IP address, it's not going to be physically attached to any of these firewalls here. It's going to be a virtual IP address, and that's what really makes the high availability available. So the traffic flow is not dependent on an individual network interface card that's attached to the security gateways. From there on, also once traffic gets to these devices here, if traffic from the router gets to the security gateways, then it's going to be easy for the cluster to forward the packets to devices in this network here. But for devices here, we need to also tell the security gateway here that, okay, once we receive packets from the router, if the destination is also this network after this security gateway, which is equally a firewall, then forward it to this particular interface. So this particular router will know how to set that up. So hopefully you do your networkings there properly and everything is going to go fine if you do it right. So the main focus on this is to show us how to be able to implement application control and URL filtering. So I'll clear this, and then from there we are going to move straight right into it. We'll get into our smart console PC and see all that we have there. So coming back to our smart console PC, I'll go to gateways and servers. And under gateways and servers here, we equally have all this security gateway 1 and security gateway 2, equally this firewall here. All of them are being managed by this security management server from the smart console, which is downloaded already within this our PC here. So coming back to it, we have everything already brought in, and once they are all brought in here, there are key things we need to note here. If you're working with this particular style where you have different firewalls being managed from one security management server, it'll be good where you create separate policy packages where policy packages that are installed on this security gateway are different from policy packages that are installed on this other firewall here. So depending on your environment, it's good for you to be able to observe and see that not all firewalls have same security policies installed on all of them. It's not a good practice that way. It's always good that firewalls that are, let's say, controlling traffic for certain sectors within your network, they should have specific policy packages. And to make that happen, right here we have, by default, you see just one policy package on your checkpoint firewall, which is a standard policy package, but you have the ability to create others. For instance, if you want to create another policy package, then you need to come to the top right corner, top left on the menu. You click the menu icon there and you go to manage policies and layers. So when you click that, an interface is going to pop up for us to set up. So when this comes up here, you see that these are the default two policy packages that are here. They are not the default, they were created. You can create another one. You tap on this icon here, and once you click on that, you will see that you can give a name. You can just say I'll just give it a random name like new package. You can give a random name like new package. So once you give it the name as new package, the next thing you want to do is you want to go to installation targets. Now this is where you specify the firewalls that this particular policy package can be installed on them. So you need to click on specific gateways, wait for it to come up. And once you click on specific gateways, you need to hit the plus icon here to be able to now add the firewall that you want. So based on your different firewalls that are available, you can be able to add them from here so that the policy package is being installed. And when you're done with that, you hit OK. So that's what you need to do, like that, to create. I'll just cancel this since we're not going to be working with this, but if you want to follow along, that's what you can do. So having that understanding now of how you can be able to create your different policy packages, having that understanding, we're going to see how now we can be able to structure policies within our environment here. Let me close this here. So having that understanding, we have a cluster package here. This was normally created so that we can be able to install that cluster policy package just on this cluster. And also we have the other one, the firewall policy, that has to be installed only on this firewall here. So having that in mind, the next thing I want us to understand before we go ahead to start creating policies is, based on what you want to do, based on the type of security policies that you want to create, you must make sure that the first level of blitz that have to be activated has to be on the firewall object itself. What do I mean? I simply mean that if you want to perform like app control and URL filtering functionalities or threat prevention or IPS, IDS, and so on, you need to make sure that first, at the object level of that particular firewall, the blade is enabled. So once the blade is enabled, like I'll show us here, you need to come to your object. You can click and edit it. So once it comes up, you need to make sure that the firewall blade is checked, the application control blade is checked, the URL filtering blade is checked, or whatever blade that you want, whatever functionality you want from the security gateway at that particular point in time. So we'll just wait for it to come up and then we'll see how to make it happen. So once it comes up here, we can clearly see here, these are the different objects available. So here you need to make sure application control object is, the blade is checked, equally URL filtering. So if you had security policies to implement on identity awareness and content awareness and so on, you need to first of all make sure that at the object level, the blade is checked. So once the blade is checked here, you can then take OK and move along. So I'll just take cancel here for now. And once that's done, just the fact that we've enabled the blade, that's not enough. You need to make sure at the level of your policies themselves. So we're going to go head over back to security policies. You need to make sure at the level of your policies, come here to this icon on each policy package. Like here, this is the cluster package that we have. You need to come here to where it says edit policy. You click on it. Once it comes here, you need to also check that some key boxes that we need to check here to make sure that whatever we're implementing at the level of our policies actually take effect. So you need to make sure you come to this particular icon. When it opens up, you go to this hamburger icon here and you go to the edit layer. So when you get to edit layer here, most times by default, you see just the firewall blade is going to be checked at the level of the policy. So you need to also make sure that in as much as you check the blade at the level of the firewall object, you need to also come here to the policy package itself and edit the policy and make sure you check application control and URL filtering or content awareness or mobile awareness, depending on what you wanted to set up. So that's what you have to do. In this case, it's already checked, so I'll close this here. So once you have that done, the next thing is you do the same for all your policy packages based on what you want to have implemented. Now, once you have that done, the next thing is you want to try to be able to create structured policies depending on how your environment looks like. And some of the common methods to do that is by creating sections so that it becomes easy for you to categorize different policies in a particular environment. Like, what do I mean? Like, if you look closely here, you see this the noise hole. That's the first hole. And before coming back to what I'm about to say here, you need to equally understand that the firewall normally reads it processes the policies from top to bottom. So it starts trying to see if there's any matching rule from the top going down to the bottom. So it's always best practice for the cleanup rule. The last rule at the bottom should always be the drop rule, or let's say the deny rule. You don't want to permit all traffic within your environment. You want to follow the least privilege access procedures, meaning that you want to give access to users or resources just the permissions they need. You don't want to give them more than what they need in that particular environment. So that's why you must permit just what needs to be permitted or drop what needs to be dropped. All right. So having that in mind here, there's a noise rule. Just imagine that, okay, you have a firewall. The first thing is maybe you have already a set of malicious attackers that are already been causing you guys havoc already. What you want to do is you want to make sure that first, if you have their IP addresses already, you want to create a firewall rule. There's a section here. I'll show us how to create this section. To create a section, before explaining what I want to say, you need to just right click on the policy. Once you right click here, you can click create new title above or below. It's up to you. So if you click above, it's going to come up above this one here. And once it comes up, you can see new section. You can double click there and you give it a name of your choice. And also, if you don't want it, you can always just right click on it again and then you delete it. If you don't want the section, you can be able to delete that particular section. I'll just right click here and let's see. Yes, we can delete from here. We're just going to delete the section and keep it the way it was before. So I'll just confirm that yes, we want to delete the section. Yes, we'll delete that. So once that is gone, we're just left with the default here. So that actually helps us to be able to keep track. So whenever we have malicious attackers like this, you can be able to create the firewall policies and place them at the top. Since the firewall reads the traffic, it reads the policies from top to bottom. It's always good when it just scans through, and if it detects that there's a source IP from any that's within your organization or within your internal network trying to get to those bad actors, then the action should be dropped and we're taking logs of it as well. And also the reverse is true, from the bad actors to us as well, then to any, whether it's also any environment within us, we want to do what block the traffic as well. And one thing to also notice that since the checkpoint firewall is equally a next generation firewall and it's equally a stateful firewall, what that simply means is that if traffic is permitted, if you create a firewall policy trying to say that traffic is permitted via this direction, definitely the response from that specific traffic is always going to be permitted. It's not going to be checked again. You don't need another policy to permit the reverse of that particular traffic to come through. What it simply means is that if the session was initiated from within your organization going out, the response coming through that same session is going to be permitted. But if it was, if let's say the originator of the session was from outside and there's no policy permitting it to come within your organization or within your environment, then definitely the firewall is always going to be dropping that particular session. So it's always good to have that point clear in mind. And this phenomenon is normally what is referred to as the next generation firewalls, being the stateful firewall, simply meaning that the they inspect the traffic once it's going out, but upon return, no inspection is done, because the firewall believes if we check you while we're going out, while you're coming in, you should be safe as well. So that's the key phenomenon behind that. And we equally have the stateless firewalls, where whether you're coming in or going out, you're equally being checked. But most next generation firewalls are actually stateful firewalls. So now, having that in mind, the next thing we want to do is structuring our policies. We'll have this third rule, and this third rule is that particular rule you want to create on your firewall to ensure that um, your external facing interfaces of your firewall are kept protected. Imagine these are your one facing interfaces and some attackers over the internet have access to that. They could perform some attacks like the distributed denial of service through maybe some sync flood or maybe some ping flood, or using various types of attack out there just to cause some nuisance to you, so that intended users of the network should actually get frustrated. So it's equally good to understand that creating this third rule is very important. And how do you create this third rule? So you can create a section like this called third rule. You give it a name. You can double click here to give it a name, or just call it stealth. And once you give it that particular rule, the next thing is to say source. If any person, source is any person that's trying to get to where our firewall, that's our cluster firewall, you can hit the drop down arrow here and you look for the firewall object, the cluster firewall object, or just this is it here, the cluster Excel object. Any person that's trying to come to us and cause us some nuisance, the action here is going to be for whatever service, we take any service, the action is going to be to drop. And we want to track the logs to be able to see what attackers have been trying to do and what our firewall has been doing, in order to make sure that traffic is being secured within the environment. So having put that in place, the next rule that we might want to create is the management rule. So I'll just right click here on this third rule, and I'm just going to create, you can right click and you create new section above. And once you click on new section above, you double click on the new section. You can give it a name or just call it MGMT, that's management. And once you click on it like that, the next thing is you want to right click on it and then create a rule below it. So now, what's the purpose for creating the management rule? Sometimes specific devices need access, maybe within your environment, to be able to manage the firewalls and the likes of that. So we want to be able to give them access. So I'm just going to create a rule below that. And this rule, we're just going to give it a name, or hit this drop down arrow here. And I'm just going to double click on the rule and I'll give it a name as management. Give it a rule like management. So if we give it the rule like management, from here, the next option is going to be the source. Who are those permitted to be able to manage these particular devices? We're just going to input a smart console PC there. I'm going to include this one. We're going to first of all put, do we have the smart console object? Here you can create an object for that. So to create an object, if it's a single IP, you can just click on this new icon and then take host. You can click on this new icon and then click on host. If it's a network object that you want to permit traffic for an entire network, you click the network. So just take host for now, and we are going to permit this as smart console PC, that's 10.1.1.20. That's what we are currently going to do. I'll put that here. Let me just put it here, and I'll just say smart, give it a name, smart console, or give the name as smart console PC. uh, so give it the name as smart console PC, and then we're going to put in the IP address. That's put an IP there, that's 10.1.1.201. Put it like that, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to put any subnet marks. If it was a network, you have the option to put a subnet marks. You're trying to say for management, we're just in this environment, we're just simply putting a smart console. Depending on your environment, it could be a network of IT guys. You want to permit them to be able to manage it. You could put their network object here. And then also here for the destination here, you're putting in your key services like your firewalls. Maybe you want them to be able to manage this. Since this is a cluster package, you want them to be able to manage this your cluster firewall here. I'll just click on cluster Excel here. You want them to be able to access it, and maybe you don't want to give them full access. You want to give them specific services for management on this cluster, and that could just be for the for HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, and so on. So you can just search for the specific service you want. We'll put here HTTP. I will just type and search for the service at the top sector here, HTTP. You search through for that, and once it comes up, you can then put in the HTTP option here. This is it. And once you do that, the next thing that you will need is to put in, you can hit the plus sign here to add HTTP based traffic. The next thing that you need here probably is to give HTTPS traffic, HTTPS the service, so that these devices can use that. We can just come right here and we choose this option. This is the HTTPS traffic here. You can hit the plus sign for that as well. You can also include things like SSH and the likes of that. So I can just search here. I'll search SSH. And once we do that, we can just include both versions of SSH. You can always click the plus sign here and equally hit the plus sign here as well. And once you do that, oh, I think we are placing them on the wrong spot here. Let me just close this. We're not supposed to do it on the third rule. We are supposed to do it on, I'll just copy it here. I'll just try to move them. You can hit Control on your keyboard and let me move here. Is it going to work? Yes, you can actually move them together like that. So I'll just take them up there, and then I'll just right click here, and then I'm just switch back to any that was at the bottom. So our third rule is going to be maintained, but the management rule is going to be as such. And here we're going to include more services here for traffic. We can equally include services such as ICMP, or just type here echo, or put echo reply, echo request, and echo reply. That's for version 4. For version 6, I'll put ICMP again. So you can include these services here depending on your environment. You just want to give access as needed, and also the action here should be to accept. And once that's done, then the next option here should be to track the logs. So once we have the logs of that all set, then we are then good to go. And yeah, that's it for the management rule. So having this in place actually gives access to just devices that need access. Also, you can want to create another rule, like I'll create another section here, and I'm just going to create the rule above the third, below the third row here, above the cleanup row here rather. So create another rule here, and I'll just call it another section. I'll create a section above this, and I'm going to call it. I'll double click here, and I'm going to call it business. There's some rules that could be for the business continuity and from the business perspective. So I just double click here. So so I can give a name like business, and once that is done, you could create different other sections for maybe you have VPN based traffic or whatever environment that you find yourself in. You can always just continue the same pattern and you create your different policies and sections the way you need to do them. And here I'll just right click and I'm going to create a new rule below this. So right click here and we'll take the new rule. I'll take new rule below. And here, let's say for instance, we want to block, let's say WhatsApp, for instance. So I'll hit the drop down arrow here. So for the from the business perspective here, I'll just hit, let's say, we'll just say, we want to use app control to block WhatsApp. So I'll just say WhatsApp here. You can double click on it to be able to, I just say block, give it a name, block WhatsApp. I'll just say block WhatsApp and the source. So I want to block WhatsApp not for everyone. Let's say I want to block WhatsApp just for this specific PC here. And all we need to be able to do is we'll just see, first of all, I have a rule here that's saying that if the destination is any and destination is the cluster, it's going to block. But the management here has access to the cluster. So there's no problem with that. Make sure that your rules don't contradict each other. Since the firewall reads rules from top to bottom, if you place a rule above that's meant to drop all traffic, then definitely the rule that's below will never be read. So you want to make sure that there's no conflict, there are no conflicts within your policies. Everything has to match. So you can always read through and then you see through that. So we're going to create the block WhatsApp here and we're going to see if the source is from, I'll put the smart console PC just for this test environment, which we just created. I think this is the smart console PC here. We'll just put that. I'll close this. And if the destination is any, you can put anything you want here for your choice. If you just put any, that's all the internet. You can put any or all the internet. All the internet for the object for all the internet is already here. That's 0.0.0. This is it here. You can put that. That's the internet. That's any address. The VPN is set to any. The service is here. You can leave it to any service of your choice, or you can, for the services, we want to block WhatsApp and WhatsApp, whether it's WhatsApp web or the WhatsApp application itself. You can always come here, you hit the plus sign now. So once you're here, you can then search at the top where it says WhatsApp, and you see different options here. WhatsApp is going to come up, and WhatsApp Messenger here is the parent to all this. So if I shift, let's see, can this shift through? Yes, this is possible. So I'll just shift this here so we see it clearly. So if here we have WhatsApp, there's WhatsApp voice, there's WhatsApp web slash PC, there's WhatsApp Messenger. WhatsApp Messenger includes all these. So you can just include WhatsApp or just put WhatsApp web here. WhatsApp Messenger will just block any form of it. You don't necessarily need to do this because just using WhatsApp Messenger is like the parent that contains every other thing that contains WhatsApp Messenger here, like that. And also if I want to, let's say I want to include Facebook, I'll just click Facebook here. We'll click on Facebook and then we'll look for the Facebook service. I'm just going to include Facebook that we have here like this. So this is the parent. Once you click on Facebook, everything that has to do with Facebook is being blocked or accepted based on the policy that you set. But if you actually choose, let's say specifically Facebook app and the likes of that, then it's just going to be specific for that. So with this, we're going to permit it as such. And also I'm going to click on the option here. The option here, we're going to see, we are going to tell it to accept. I'll hit this drop down arrow here. Can click on this, and the option we should be getting is to accept, and we want to equally track the logs as well. So you click on the logs here and I'll take log, and the option here for this should be to accept traffic. So once we do that, we can be able to publish our session here. And once we publish that, the next thing we want to do is, remember, we have not yet installed this policy package. So right now, everything has been saved after you hit on your publish button. But the next thing we want to do is we want to check before we get to install the policy on the firewall. Let us just check. We'll hit a plus icon here to open a new tab. And we'll just see if we can first of all open something like WhatsApp web. So just hit WhatsApp. I'll just take WhatsApp web for the internet and see if we can be able to hit that. I'll click here and I'll just type the WhatsApp web and I'll hit enter here. Is this reachable even? Yes, so this is reachable. And let me see, how was this able to get to? Let's check the IP config /all. I want to see how did it get DNS. DNS servers, okay. All right, so you got DNS servers, fine, okay, fine. So right now, when we click on WhatsApp, I'm just going to click WhatsApp web before installing the policy. So let's see if it's possible. So right now, you see it's trying to load up WhatsApp web, and let's see if you can open through. Just give it some few seconds. So you can clearly see that before installing the policy, WhatsApp web, the interface actually opens up nicely. And also if you get to a new tab and we say we hit Facebook here, Facebook, let's just say Facebook login or whatever is there. If you hit that, you realize that yeah, this is equally going to open up as well. If you click on that before the policy installation here. So right now, we're just going to go ahead. You see the page is actually opening up for us to log in. So right now, we're just going to go ahead to our Smart Console PC here. And once we come here, we're going to install this cluster policy package. So I'm just going to click here where it says install. I'll install it. And after that is done, then we should be able to see what is taking place. So you realize that even after we do the installation, as at now, 2026, if you realize even after I do this app control here and block Facebook and even WhatsApp, you realize that although you have WhatsApp already placed, oh, I think there's a problem, we need to drop we need to use the drop option, not accept here. We need to block this, not accept rather. But we need to create a rule below this as well. I'll right click here. I'll create new rule below. And I'm going to call this, let's say, internet. I'll double click here. Double click here and we'll call this the internet access. So at this specific point here, once we are here, we can create, instead of we have blocked WhatsApp here, We can then say, let's say we want to give specific access to YouTube. We can just say YouTube access, and that's the name of the policy. We'll just put the YouTube access, and the source here we're just simply saying steal from it's still going to be steal from our smart console PC. So we are going to include that, and the destination should be over the internet. Here I'm just going to hit the plus icon, and then I'm going to include here over the internet there. And also for the services, I'm going to put the VPN services to remain that, and here I'm going to include the plus sign here. And we are equally going to look for, you can search for YouTube. We'll just click the search option here, and we'll just type YouTube. So once you do that, YouTube is going to appear, and from here you can click the plus sign to include it in. So once it's included in the policy, the action is you want to accept this. We'll take accept here. Take accept, and here we'll just take any, by the way, from here, rather than taking just specifically YouTube. Or just take any, or right click here and place any, but you can fine-tune it the way you wish to, or just switch it back to any. And here we're just going to log the traffic here. I'll just log traffic here. And the key thing you're supposed to know about this line is that whenever the firewall starts processing traffic until it gets to this hole, if smart console PC was trying to, if the source was from the smart console PC trying to head to the internet and they were trying to access WhatsApp, then you drop. If they were not trying to access WhatsApp but a different service, then it's going to go through because we have accepted it here. So we expect specifically that WhatsApp or Facebook based traffic should fail. But even though we do this and install it, it's not still going to work because of the new protocol that was currently developed by Google, which is QUIC. And QUIC actually runs on UDP 443, so it's always going to override, or it's going to walk through or bypass the TCP 443 that has normally been used for a long time now. So I'm going to install this policy, and we'll just demonstrate that right now. I install this particular policy package here. I'm going to, I'll click publish and install for the changes that we have just made, and then we'll just wait for it to be published. So once it's published, then we're going to install this specific policy package on our cluster itself. So give it some time. So here we're just going to hit install, and if you look closely, it's installing just on the cluster Excel. So take install, and we'll hold on for it to be done. So I hit the up arrow key here. I'll pin this, and we'll see the details here together. Okay, we'll just give it a few moments. So now that our policy has been installed successfully, we normally expect that if you get to a smart console PC, I'll close this. We expect that if you get to a smart console PC, WhatsApp-based traffic should be dropped and Facebook-based traffic should be dropped, but YouTube-based traffic should be permitted, or any other service available aside this. But this is not necessarily going to be the case. So if you head over to our browser here, I'll just click on the browser that we have available here, and if I should refresh, you see clearly we still have Facebook still accessible. I'll just refresh this once more. We see clearly see we can be able to access this page. I'll go to WhatsApp here. here as well. I'll try to refresh this particular page to see if it's still going through. We'll clearly see that this is going to actually work because traffic is being sent through UDP using QUIC. So it still opens through, and this is not the case that we want. So in this particular case scenario, what we have to do is if you come back to your policies that we have on Smart Console, if I come to Smart Console here, and while we're here, still on these same policies here, if you hit the plus icon, this little add icon here, and under services, if you take what it says, QUIC, we'll add the service to it. So for the service, I'm just going to hit here, we'll hit our search bar, and you just need to type QUIC. So QUIC is that particular UDP protocol that we're equally going to disable for that. So I'm going to just add it here. It's a plus sign. Is it? You include that to it. It has already been included here. So this is at the bottom here. So we're going to install this policy one more time. I'm going to install this, and we should see now that if everything is done fine, then everything should just be okay. So we'll just wait for our policy to be done with the installation. We'll click on install. So just wait for the installation process to be done. So once the installation process is done, we can then move over to a test page on Chrome. We can then head over to Chrome, and while we're here, we'll do a refresh, and let's see if what we have done so far is taking effect or not. So we'll just give it some time. You see, we're beginning to get no internet connection here already. I'm going to go to Facebook that we have here. I'll refresh this as well, and let's see if we still have access to it or not. You see, Facebook can't be reached. So if you head over back to WhatsApp, you see WhatsApp can't be reached. So this is just simply because of the policies that we have in place at the level of our Smart Console PC here, like this. So without QUIC, even though your firewall policy normally says drop WhatsApp and so on and so forth, it's not going to happen. So make sure you're using QUIC in your recent policies as at now. So that's one way to make sure that you're using URL and app control within your environment. So if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and equally keep yourself updated for regular security contents like this on the platform. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys in the video. And if you want more content like this, or maybe you want to get yourself educated as to how to really go about managing the checkpoint firewall, you can head over to www.dovitech.com, and while you're there, you'll be able to get credible information that's going to help you and build you throughout your security journey as well. So with that being said, see you guys in the next video.